There are 33 contested seats for the Senate alone. We're going to try to go over some of the more popular ones and some of the ones that have some far-reaching influence. As I've told you guys many times, I am a person from Northwest Indiana, traveled all over the world, but had been living overseas. And because of this, I'm coming back and reacting honestly to campaign videos. We're trying to see exactly what's going on in this country. Again, that's why we keep discussing open dialogue everywhere. And we're going to watch these and react. So as this Senate race heats up, one of the major ones we're looking at is a battle in North Carolina. This is between Michael Whatley and Roy Cooper. Now, I want to take the time because many people will, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, we're just going to quickly find out information and we're just going to see the highlights of these people. But as we have seen across the internet, everybody wants to do their own research. So we're going to do it together. And the first one we're going to look at is Michael Whatley. Now, let's just take the time to break him down a little bit. This is a man who's running a lot of his race based off his closeness to Donald Trump. Well, let's be honest, in today's climate, it can either be a very good thing or a very bad thing. If you want to run as a Republican at this point right now, you probably have to be endorsed by Donald Trump. Running as a Democrat to do opposite of Donald Trump could be a good method. It's not always the best, but let's see some of the stats he brings before we go to actual his campaign website. Former chair of the Republican National Committee, former NC GOP chair, North Carolina GOP chair, as we talked about before, endorsed by Trump. He's campaigning on a Trump alignment, public safety, more cops, criminals behind bars. Some of the things that he's running on are stuff that we actually talk about all the time, right? You want to have more cops, more criminals behind bars. Do these messages work? Is this something that has been tried across different states? Is this something tried across the country? We fight over all this. So this can't be just one policy to run on. But before we judge too harshly, let's go to his video. Let's see what he's about. And we're going to watch this and talk about this together.
It's the great American comeback. Our border secure, our strength restored.
The president's doing exactly what he campaigned on. This is the direction that the American people want to go. A strong.
So when they say it lines himself with Donald Trump, the beginning 10 seconds has mostly Donald Trump in it. And we're using big, strong words. Words that resonate with people. People want safety. They want security. They want a border.
A strong.
We're 10 seconds in, and you can already see the alignment and how it's working. Strong words, scary words, things that people would want, that people do vote on. These are real life situations, but are we doing the best job at actually fixing the problem? But let's keep it going. We're only 10 seconds in.
Economy and a strong America. These are things that the American people support, and we need to make sure we see it through.
To save our economy, to bring jobs home, North Carolina needs a strong, fearless conservative in the Senate.
The great Michael Whatley of North Carolina.
Yes, obviously he is very, very aligned with Trump, and I know how that's going to make people feel right away. It's you're either in or you're out. But I want to tell you, it doesn't work that way. But in a system that we are currently in the United States, it's a two-tier system. It does not work this way. And if you don't want one, you have to have the other. If these are your only two options, again, in a democracy, it could also easily be split. If you have two great parties on the Democratic side, but one cohesive unit on the right side, the right will win. That is how democracies work. So we have to take this all into consideration, but let's keep it going to see what some of his policies are.
And Michael, I know you're doing a great job, and you're going to do something very special.
Michael Whatley for U.S. Senate. Whatley has President Trump's complete and total endorsement. Whatley is a strong leader who can get North Carolina back on families make ends meet to create.
And a lot of these are just great talking points that people have been voting on for generations. I understand now we live in a different time, different technology, but it's a similar messaging. We need to bring back jobs. How? How are we going to be fair to workers? Right? We can't even talk about unions in this country for big corporations without it turning into a fight. So to create jobs, what jobs? For who? What is the education system that we're going to have to create these jobs? And everything's security. How do we go about security? It's where did the tax money come from? What do people actually want? These are the questions we have to start asking ourselves before we get too polarized in two different tribes. Like, oh, he likes Donald Trump. He is supportive of him. And the president supports him back. Some people, he's a bad guy. The other guy doesn't support Donald Trump, okay? Maybe he's the good guy. But we can't have this go back and forth. We have to look at policies. We have to look at also how do they want to attain those policies. Otherwise it's just words. It's emptiness right now.
Jobs to make our streets safe again.
It's a common sense, America First agenda. We need the Senate to move forward with that agenda for every American family.
Michael Whatley for North Carolina.
Make America.
I do not know what the agenda is. I just watched the video. I understand what he's going for, and I get it. And this wins, and it works. But this is what makes me think. And just watching this, maybe I'm a pessimist, but I'm thinking the entire system might be fraudulent. The whole makeup of the U.S. system. We don't need a complete overhaul, but we need to come into the modern day because this man has a chance to win, and there's nothing there. There was just nothing said, and it's frustrating on my part. It has taken the place of a man named Tillis who is retiring, and as we've seen in just my small amount of time jumping back into politics, he is retiring and probably selling a book with a tell-all. I wish that it worked differently in the Senate or Congress or any position of either power or fame, but as soon as they're done with it, the tell-all has to be had, but they're going for the money. But I digress. That's not important. This right here, this is Michael Whatley. This is what we gathered from this. The next man we're going to go over is going to be Roy Cooper. And the same thing that we saw from both pages, right? The first thing is, how can you support? Here's the donation. It is frustrating to see. I get modern day. I understand it. And the money is, these super PACs are real. Money is a powerful thing across the board. But let's before we watch the video, let's learn a little bit about Roy Cooper, okay? Former two-term governor of North Carolina. It seems that he has won every election in the 40 years of public service he has ever had, which is a good side into maybe the modern generation a bad side. That means a lot of things haven't come out about him. You can maybe potentially trustworthy. There's also arguments to be said that somebody that's in politics for 40 years and then worth hundreds of millions of dollars, it doesn't look good either. It's all the optics. So I can understand both ways. But in just reading a little bit about him, he seems like a pretty stand-up person. And in today's world, this is something that we're looking for. It'd be nice to just have a little bit of honesty. But you know what? Let's watch the video on him and let's see what Roy Cooper's all about.
It wasn't always this hard because being in the middle class meant something. You could afford a home. Your kids went to good schools. Your job paid enough to cover the basics. And most summers you could get away for a few days.
This is a great topic to bring up of what things used to be like. We do not live in that time anymore. It would be awesome if we did. We should. We got away from it. Something is obviously broken. I would love to know what people would want for their lives on a, let's say, yearly basis, annually, what you'd want. How many vacations? What kind of job security? What's the most basic thing in what's called the Western world or the US specifically that people would want to make them happy? Because if we're living at such a line that it could be close, why not take advantage? The middle class is a rare thing in history. The fact that people have a chance to rise is a rare thing in history. So I like that. That's one of the first things he brought up, and he's probably seen, judging by his age and his resume, he's got to see the states change a lot.
For the most part, life was pretty good. I'm Roy Cooper, and I know that today for too many Americans, the middle class feels like a distant dream. Meanwhile, the biggest corporations and the richest Americans have grabbed unimaginable wealth at your expense.
This is unbelievably frustrating. And coming back to the states, I know it's so frustrating because these are some of the first topics that were brought up to me. The wealth disparity in this country is tremendous. There's a specific class of people that people do talk about that don't pay taxes, that control a lot. I always thought this country was against monopolies. I thought that we would break up monopolies, and it wouldn't be fair to crush the little guy, the little mom and pop stores. But we're not about that right now. The ultra wealthy do need to pay their fair share. The middle time wealthy, which is crazy, it's just that middle ground. The middle ground wealthy do pay a ton of taxes, and we need them. We need them to keep the economy flowing, to keep the social programs. But where's our money going to these social programs? How can we come back and this fraud everywhere on both sides, and we're doing nothing about it? And that's just not a good use of tax dollars, and especially over time. Over time, this might not be a big deal. The U.S. is very powerful, but over time, this becomes a gilded age really quickly. And when it runs out, the bottom falls off. But, let's keep going.
It's time for that to change. I grew up in Nash County working on the farm every summer. My mom was a public school teacher. My dad, a small-town lawyer and farmer. It's where I started my family, taught Sunday school for years, and started my law practice that helped everyday people and small businesses. When you made me your attorney general, I prosecuted criminals.
This is something beautiful that we're seeing in today's world, that there's actually a split on. So he brings up a little bit of religion. It's just a small little amount that's not seen. Judging what I'm talking about, certain parts of the populace love it, certain parts do not. So this could be an issue that divides people a little bit, and I don't think it should be, because there's nothing wrong with living a specific lifestyle if you're true to yourself also. We've seen in this country that people don't say the exact right thing all the time. You could go from being in the it to the out very quickly. But so far, I would have to say I like his video a little bit more.
And took on scammers, big banks, and drug companies. When you made me your governor, we balanced the state budget every year and worked with Republicans to raise teacher pay, recruit thousands of better paying jobs, and expand Medicaid to more than 650.
Several issues that are close to me. So I actually trained to be a teacher. That was my entire goal, and I keep working towards it. I would love to be a professor one day, as I've told you guys before, but it takes time and money. But raising teacher salary and seeing what they have to do and deal with, this is a real problem in this country. And unless we invest in it, without teachers, where do we go? Without nurses, where do we go? These are all very important subjects that I'm glad he's talking about. The healthcare, as we get more into this channel and longer discussions, the thing that I'm sure eventually you guys will take away from me is my stance on healthcare. We're not going to go into it right now. It's very important, but this is not the video for it.
50,000 working North Carolinians. But right now, our country's facing a moment as fragile as any I can remember. And the decisions we make in the next election will determine if we even have a middle class in America anymore. I never really wanted to go to Washington.
I do like what he pointed out there. Instead of going after a lot of people back and forth, with the wrong election, we might not have a country anymore. That's not what's up for grabs. I understand that people could see it that way, but the fact that the middle class is disappearing, and when this happens, if it does, if you have a class of the wealthy, the super wealthy with different rules than the rest of us, it starts to get all the characteristics, the qualities you need for a social revolution, a complete revolution, or a civil war. And this is something that we need to try to avoid. And the only way to avoid it is a country coming together and talking to each other. And what I'm gathering from him, I definitely like it. He's standing on his own principles. He's standing his ground, and he's open to, it seems like, criticism on how it could go. He doesn't have all the answers. Nobody does. So if they claim to, uh, that should scare people to begin with. But I would say if I had to vote, I would be voting for him. But there's something else that I like that I saw, and we're gonna leave the rest of the video, you guys. I would suggest you guys go find it on YouTube. As everybody says, do your own research, but I will not say it in an angry way. Do your own research, because we have to be able to have discussions, and I'm not doing the back and forth yelling. But one more part of his page that really intrigued me. Right, this is still, we're just going back and forth, but he has a plan here. There's policies, there's things he wants to go after, and how he would go after it. That's something that makes it as simple as possible. One of my favorite movies when I was growing up, I want to say one of my favorite movies, but one of the better movies I've ever seen. It's a movie called Philadelphia. And the lawyer in that movie constantly brings it up to explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. And that's where we have to be. I understand certain educated classes, how they see the world, then they get mad. These people are uneducated. So then there's a rift and there's a fight in between. But truly, if you understand something completely, you should be able to explain it to a child. And that's where we should be at. These policies are something that we could get behind. And it's great to see them and how he would lay it out. This is something that's rare. This is rare in our society. So I suggest to everybody, and I encourage them to go to the websites. And we're just picking different races every day, any other times, mix it with some fun. We talked about this, but these are great videos. These are great websites for this. Some of the things that also tracked with me as I was reading more and more about this was this Senate race is expected to be the most expensive in the history of our country, between $650 and $800 million. I don't have words for this. This money it could be used for different things. And this is how each and every election is. And this is how all the elections are across the country. Obviously, this is the biggest amount. But let's say that's half this. Let's say that all the races this year, which is just 33 for just the Senate alone, let's say that they just have a sixth of some of these prices, or even less. How much money are we wasting in these campaigns when it could be used for different things? And I don't know why we're not doing that as a country anymore. We need to get back to a situation where we not only build, but we maintain the country that we have. And this should be what the Senate should be talking about. This is what the campaign should be talking about. As simple as fixing the roads. I understand, right? but nothing gets fixed. Nothing's getting done. People talk about climate change. We've been talking about it for 40 to 60 years. We've been dying every 10 years. All right, so start something else. Let's clean up the garbage. We can't be the only country looking to try to do something if other countries aren't. And it's a waste of time to vote on these practices. And if it doesn't happen, if I preach one way and then I get into any kind of power and I don't do it, these people stay in power for generations doing nothing. And I don't know when the people are going to wake up and vote these people out and demand change. And I hope to be part of that movement. Thank you guys for watching. This is just the first of a series. We're going to try to go over as many as we can. Please like, please subscribe, but more importantly, please comment. Let's talk about this. I do not have all the answers, and I would love to hear other people's opinions on it. And let's see if we could find a way to hit that middle ground and see if we can start working for each other.